Hi, I'm Chris Anderson from Channel 2 News. Tonight I'll be paying tribute to the most memorable highlights of music and Hollywood during the 1950s. How could we forget when Elvis Presley was seen hip-thrusting on The Ed Sullivan Show? Check out this extremely disturbing footage. Parents were deeply concerned about the moral repercussions of this public outrage. Despite this controversy, Elvis was able to gain the admiration and affection from the youth of this time. His upbeat songs such as Hound Dog made a big impact on rock and roll, and pop culture. Hollywood actor James Dean was taking a drive in his 550 Spider when he tragically died in a car crash. Surprisingly, he still receives more fan mail than any other actor at MGM Studios. The 1951 scandal between Barbara Payton, Thomas Neal, and Frank Ottone also stands out. The nation was horrified to hear of the violent encounter between Neal and Tone, and even more appalled by the divorce between Tone and Payton that manifested from this conflict. Payton earned herself the nickname Hollywood's Bad Blonde, and all three of the actors were blacklisted and never had the same success again. Two of Hollywood's most recognizable faces over the past decade were Elizabeth Taylor and Marilyn Monroe. Taylor was famous for the purple tint to her eyes on film, and Monroe was a sex symbol due to her all-American, wholesome good looks. The two stars were featured in various films throughout the decade, such as A Place in the Sun and Love Happy. Both of these lovely ladies stand out as icons of the optimism of the 50s and the quintessence of beauty during this time. Another star who made a significant impact during the 1950s was Frank Sinatra. His soothing voice appealed to the youth and popularized swing music. Sinatra topped the charts with hits such as Anything Goes and Accidents Will Happen. These songs were the soundtrack to a decade of prosperity and security for middle America. Sinatra also enjoyed a successful film career that took off during his commercial success as a singer. He acted in films such as Kings Go Forth and even directed None But the Brave. Thank you for tuning in to the highlights in both Hollywood and music over this past decade. Now to Charlotte with some important social and cultural changes.
Thank you, Chris, for all that interesting news. I'm Charlotte Hogan, and I will be reporting on the riveting and important cultural and social changes that have made headlines in this past decade. The 1950s have been a time of remarkable growth and abundance for the United States. The 50s has been a time of tradition with an emphasis on family life and a radical time of change and development for certain groups. Dr. Benjamin Spock was able to grab the nation's attention, especially that of new mothers and fathers, in his book, Baby and Child Care. Dr. Spock gave valuable information on caring and raising children. Also, he emphasized the idea that fathers should spend more time with their children, a new idea for our culture. Religion also played a larger part in our society, with help from Billy Graham. Graham was able to go around the nation and preach about accepting God in a serious but gentle manner. Because of this, the amount of people involved with religion greatly increased throughout the decade. Also, the government brought religion closer to the public by adding Under God to the pledge and In God We Trust to our currency. The art and literature of the 50s are essential to the culture of the United States and will definitely influence the next generations. Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac were known for their involvement with the Beat Generation, beliefs in spontaneity, freedom, drugs, and sex, in opposition to mainstream culture. Ginsberg's most popular piece of work is his poem Hollow, and Kerouac is known for his novel On the Road. J.D. Salinger was also an important literary figure in this decade with his novel Catcher in the Rye. On the artistic side of things, Jackson Pollock made the news as an abstract expressionist by throwing paint onto canvases. Because of his work, New York City was able to replace Paris as the artistic center of the world. Also, pop art began to emerge in the latter part of the decade. Pop art employs imagery from popular culture and presents them in ironic or unusual ways. By far, one of the most important changes to take place in the 50s were the civil rights gains. In Brown v. Board of Education, the Supreme Court declared school segregation illegal because they realized that separate but equal was in fact not equal. The decision was put to a test in Little Rock, Arkansas, when the Little Rock Nine were sent to public school that was traditionally only for white students. President Eisenhower nationalized the Arkansas National Guard and put it under federal army jurisdiction to preserve the law and ensure the children's entrance into the school. Another headline raised by the civil rights movement was caused by Rosa Parks in Montgomery, Alabama. Because Ms. Parks would not move to the back of her bus and give up her seat for a white passenger, she was arrested. This sparked a large boycott of buses by African Americans in Montgomery until the segregation of buses was declared illegal by the Supreme Court. The civil rights movement of the 1950s has been distinguished by a large amount of people involved and the direct confrontation against white institutions. On the other hand, the 50s were also a peaceful time marked by abundance and prosperity. The baby boom of the 50s, caused by the end of World War II, created a need for houses and cars as families began to grow. Many developers decided to create neighborhoods on the outskirts of cities through mass production techniques. Also, the GI Bill was able to help soldiers with low-cost mortgages. Not only were houses being produced with great quantity, but cars were also being made quickly to satisfy the needs of the consumers. The Interstate Highway created a national highway system, making it much easier for people to travel across the United States, and also created a need for fast food restaurants and motels. Thank you for listening to my part of this fascinating segment recounting the glorious decade. Now, I'll send it over to Shelby, who will give you information on the top inventions of the 50s.
Thank you, Charlotte. These days, it is impossible to keep up with the newest inventions. Luckily, I'm here to let you know all you've been missing out on. I'm Shelby Cornell. Television, as you know, has been booming in popularity. Clearly, you are hip because you're watching this program right now on your very own television. Movie theaters have been losing lots of business due to the increased popularity. Families are more likely to be staying home watching television together than going to the movies to spend money. One of the most controversial inventions of this past decade is the new oral contraceptive, better known as the pill. Parents are deeply concerned about the possibility of their daughters having access to such an obstruction to tradition. Don't let this rattle your cage too much. I recommend sitting down as a family to discuss the moral dangers associated with this medication. For all of you women who are prone to breaking things, or for all you men who aren't the best when it comes to handiwork, super glue is the thing for you. It is the perfect quick fix to any problem around the house. I highly recommend it for anyone who seeks convenience. If you have kids at home, there are much better ways of keeping them occupied than actually taking them outside to play with them. These new toys will keep your kids entertained for hours, leaving you free to do as you please. First, we have Mr. Potato Head. Your kids can experiment with different facial expressions on this little guy. Silly Putty has also been booming in popularity, but this is one to be careful with. This will only hold the attention of your children for a short time, and it can also be dangerous as it is easy to swallow. But it is perfect for a quick dash to the market. Barbie dolls are the perfect gift for your little girl. They represent the pure American beauty and values that we value in our traditional society. Every girl should have one. Groundbreaking work has been completed in the medical field. Wilson Greatbatch has developed a product called the pacemaker, which provides an electronic pulse to aid one's heart. This revolutionary technology will save the lives of thousands of Americans. Ladies, this next section is for you. So many advancements have been made for kitchen appliances that you really are at a disadvantage if you aren't keeping up. Taking care of the food needs of your family has never been easier. Stoves have been around for some time now, but now you can get them in a variety of colors that are easy to clean and long-lasting. Similarly, refrigerators are also available in a variety of colors, allowing you to make your kitchen your own with whatever theme you please. If you don't have an electric mixer, you're wasting a lot of time and energy in the kitchen when you could be spending time with your family. This bad boy will mix all of your foods together for you. My personal favorite new appliance is the microwave. It is amazing what these things can do in a matter of seconds. It will save you a lot of time, and it doesn't force you to be exposed to extremely high temperatures. Ladies, we all know how brutal laundry day can be. But have no fear. Washing machines mean no more washing out by hand and wringing out your clothes. Talk about a savior. I recommend taking a trip to your local department store to invest in some of these new machines. They will really help improve your family. Thanks again. I'm Shelby Cornell, and this is Channel 2 News.